We speak student.
Proving lines are perpendicular, a la Shmoop. Leroy, the city pigeon, is having a bit of a tiff with his country cousin, Roy Lee. Leroy argues that the streets below form a perfect cross.
They're a cross. Look at them.
But Roy Lee insists the streets look kind of slanted.
No, Leroy. They are definitely slanted.
How can Leroy prove that the streets do in fact form a perfect cross and that they're perpendicular? Well, first let's think about the streets as two intersecting lines on a map. Then we can use some useful theorems that will help us determine if the lines are in fact perfectly perpendicular. A lot of P's. If two lines are perpendicular, they'll form four right angles at their intersection. Yeah, right here. Right angles measure 90 degrees, and it appears that Leroy's two streets create four right angles at their intersection. But Leroy wants to make sure. He's kind of uptight. Another theorem Leroy can use follows the same principle. It says, if two lines intersect to form a linear pair of congruent angles, then the lines are perpendicular. Angles 1 and 4 are adjacent and form a linear pair. Two angles in a linear pair are always supplementary, which means that their measures must add to 180 degrees. That means that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180 degrees. If these angles have to be congruent, their measures should be equal to each other. So let's substitute the measure of angle 4 with the measure of angle 1. They're both equal anyway, right? All right, we can add the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 1 to get 2 times the measure of angle 1. To isolate the measure of angle 1, we can divide 2 by both sides and get that the measure of angle 1 is 90 degrees. Because the two angles are congruent, we know that 90 degrees must also be the measure of angle 4. Since our 90-degree angles are a linear pair of congruent angles, like the theorem says, we know the lines are perpendicular. Voila. He even uses a protractor to be certain. Looks like this theorem reinforces Leroy's argument. There you go. Leroy was indeed correct. The streets are perpendicular. Oh great, now he's going to do that obnoxious victory strut stuff. Woohoo!
They're a cross. Look at them.